Hello YouTubes, I was a wee bit disheartened on my last moving car system project video, as you probably noticed. The chain just didn't seem to want to turn and I even broke a bit, but I think I might have got to the bottom of the problem. This is the section that snapped. I was trying to turn that and it broke right off. So I've done two things. Reprinted this with a better PLA. And I've done something else further down there that I'll go through in a wee second. But at least now, when I turn this, it actually turns the chain. Still not very free moving, but I think that's got a lot to do with needing to kind of run in the chain, because it is all just PLA plastic and all the links, so there's going to be lots of little bits of extra filament floating about, but that's certainly turning now. Not too bad. And here's what I did, apart from printing off a new gear. I actually added one link of chain to make it a wee bit looser. Now that might not make sense, but I think what it was doing was it was kind of pulling it and pushing it, and it was all tight. Everywhere was tight, and I think it needed a bit of slack at the bends in order to, you see how it stretches when you go one way or the other? It needs that bit of loose. Obviously it's not going to be loose when it's in there, but that's what it needed, I think. I did think about adding another section, but I don't think that would make any difference. So, a bit happier with that. Majority of the time, it will be going this way. As you can see, it's right-hand drive because we're in Canada. Okay. So what's next? We need to find out if this little motor is going to be powerful enough. I know it's moving now, but it's still pretty stiff, and I'm just not sure if this little servo is going to work. It does say 25 kilograms, which seems like a lot, but I don't know. However, before I can just slap that onto the layout, I do have to adjust this. It's got 3 wires for like an Arduino control system, which I'm not doing at the moment, so I need to convert that to 2 wires. Well, it's been a couple of weeks. Hey, life got in the way. Haven't had any problems with this, I just haven't got around to doing it until now. Time to test it out. Now, I mentioned that this had 3 wires and I wanted 2 wires. As you can see, I now have 2 wires coming out of it. This is what was inside it. So you've got the 3 wires going into a little module like this. As I say, this is really designed for an Arduino, but these 2 wires just go to the motor inside, so it's fairly simple. You just desolder these 2 and wire in a couple of normal wires, and I've got these hooked up to basic train controller. Eventually I would like a standalone power unit, which I do have somewhere, and a little control knob, but this will do for now, if it works. So let's find out. Power on. Let's give it some juice and see if it turns it or just melts. Well, it's turning it. A wee bit noisy, but that's just the motor. The chain linkage stuff itself isn't too bad. Most of the noise is coming from this. So I guess we have to put a car on, see if it works. And I've gone for the big unit because I know that this unit's got a bit more of a precise control, whereas the, you know, these little guys, they're kind of old school on and off, but I know that this one can be quite smooth. Right, let's try it with this one because I know that this one rolls quite well. Because I don't want it to go super fast like a slot car. Right, let's go. Yeah, that's about as slow as I can go without it being jerky. But that's pretty good. And it does depend on how well these little cars roll, because this one doesn't roll as nice, as you can see. So might need some bearing work, because as I say, the red one rolls quite smooth. Let's go a little bit faster then. Yeah, you can see how jerky the purple car is. But that is definitely down to the bearing in the car rather than the chain mechanism, because this one seems quite smooth. Overall, so far, delighted and extremely surprised that that little motor can do the job. Can go faster if you want, but it gets quite noisy. Probably okay if we're doing a police chase scene. Ooh, had a bit of a uneven section there. Should be okay next time round. Yeah, a wee bit bumpy. Overall though, pretty happy. So what's next? Need to make a road surface because that looks gaff. I do have an idea. I'm going to be using some thickish card. I don't want to use paper because I need to paint on top of it, road surface lines. And if I use paper, it would go all bumpy. So hopefully the card I've got is thick enough to take the paint, but not too thick that the magnets don't work. Let's cut out a little strip first and we'll try it. Otherwise, we'll need to just paint that, and that doesn't look great. Well, this is the card I intend to use, and for some unknown reason, I've already cut it into these little strips. It's been a while since I started this project, so that plan must have changed, because ideally I want the card to go from this side all the way to there. And there is a very slight camber going down there. That section is a little bit higher than that. However, this should be enough to at least lay on there, put a car on, and see if it can still grip it with a magnet power. And if this doesn't work, the whole project is getting scrapped. Right, let's see what happens. Well, that seems to be absolutely fine, no problem at all. Oh, jerky Viper. Wonderful. Cool. Now, before I start cutting all the card into road-shaped shapes, I do want to go around all my track guides and just screw them all down so that they're totally flat and we don't have any magnetation issues. Making these terms up as we go along. But yeah, if the track isn't flat on the surface, then the distance between the magnets and the cars is going to be higher. So let me get that done and then we'll start cutting some road shapes. Well, that seems about as flat as I can get it. And just make sure it still works. Yep, seems fine. Lovely. Right, let's make some road surface. Now, I know it still looks a bit, what's the word, crap, However, trust the process. I'm going to take all of this out to the garage, spray it with some of this matte black, or is it satin? No, it's flat black, whatever. It's flat matte black. Anyway, spray this. I'm going to use this because it's much thinner than acrylic paint. And then once that's done, bring it back in. Hopefully it hasn't destroyed the paper card. And once it's stuck down, then I'll add some more realism and cracks and potholes and all the things you find on a normal road. So I'll see you in a minute. Oh, better take that with me. And the rest, I'll come back for them. Well, that's my road surface painted. And I think it came up rather smashing. It looks kind of like freshly laid tarmac. Obviously got a lot of detail to go, but I'm really happy with that. And the paint didn't make the card go all bubbly. So, super chuffed, super chuffed. It is very sticky though. I need to wait till it's thoroughly dried. And what I'll do is in the underside there, I'll put just some clear tape just to join them together at every join. And in fact, I will actually remove these and paint the underside black. The track runner stuff black just where it joins, because obviously that's going to be noticeable if it is not a perfect join. So, a bit of waiting about till that all dries, but so far, looking nice. That's enough waiting about. I've got no patience, as you know. Right, let's get all my track surface taped together. Now, hopefully I don't ruin everything at this stage. Need to be careful. This really has to go on flat and straight. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be straight, but it has to be flat. Or flattish. Alright, let's see if this worked. I didn't quite get the tape lined up. That's not too bad. I will be putting more paint over the top of this. Not a huge amount, but I do want it textured, you know. Well, it's almost dry. I mean, it should be dry, but you know me. Right, let me get the rest done. You'll see when it's all taped down. Lovely. Voila! It is all stuck together. We should maybe test it, right? I did go ahead and drill a great ruddy hole through there for the wires to go round. Oh, talking of which, by the way, we need to come up with something to hide all this. How about maybe a bus wash? You know, like a car wash, but a bus wash, and we could have a bus in there, and then we could have rotating brushes and what? No, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So that's going down there underneath. It's hooked up to its own controller. Let's get a car on, see if it works. Still. So let's try our trusty A4 convertible. We know it works. Here he goes. Here he goes. Might need a wee bit more power. Yep. Still needs to run this chain in. Still a wee bit notchy. But the car's not moving too bad. Let's make sure he goes all the way around. Now for this section, this is going to be a sort of roundabout. There's going to be a road coming off here, maybe a wee road coming off there as well. Obviously we're going to have a yellow line in the middle of the road, because that's what we have in Canada. White lines at the sides, a ditch, sidewalk, all that kind of stuff. So the road's not going to be actually that wide. It's going to probably stop about there and there, because I need to add a little bit more ballast here. And a fence for safety, obviously. So that's going not too bad. And the better the car, the better it should roll. But yeah, made a full lap. Happy with that. Been a long time coming, but I think it's going to be fine. Now, I did want to end the video showing you this going around the track. It looks amazing. However, it's not making it round the bend at the moment because I've not glued this surface on to the track runners yet. So I guess you're just going to have to wait. So that's it for this part 3, I believe. Fairly successful, really happy with it so far, and I think it's going to run just so good once it's all glued down and painted and roundabouts, sidewalks. Still got a fair bit to go, but we're almost there. It works. I will do this briefly at the end of this video here, just going along the straight, but as I say, once it gets to the bend it kind of loses the magnet because the surface isn't close enough. It's pretty important that the magnet gets as close to the ground as possible. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is awesome. Loving how it looks. Got a lot of weathering and all that detail-y stuff to do, but we're nearly there. Thanks for the encouragement. Bye for now.